on with our journey through swashbuckler films, we come upon one I'm sure many of you have not seen, Sharpe's Eagle. It comes from a series of made-for-TV movies adapted from books written by Bernard Cornwell about the exploits of Richard Sharpe, played by Presented and Technicolor favorite Sean Bean. Sharpe is a British rifleman slowly rising through the ranks of Sir Arthur Wellesley's army in Spain, fighting against the French along with his faithful companion, Irishman Patrick Harper. At this point in the timeline, Wellesley has yet to become the Duke of Wellington, but for simplicity's sake we'll just call him Wellington for the purposes of this review. In the first movie, Sharpe's Rifles, Sharpe finds himself promoted from the ranks to lieutenant for saving the Duke of Wellington's life, a very rare occurrence in the Regency period British Army. Most officers paid for their commissions rather than earning them, which means that in some cases only the super wealthy could afford to get promoted. In Sharpe's Eagle, Sharpe meets some of these wealthy officers that paid for their commissions. Colonel Sir Henry Simmerson, played superbly by Michael Cochran, his nephew Lieutenant Christian Gibbons, and Gibbons' friend Lieutenant Barry. Can you guess who plays Lieutenant Barry? It took me a little while, but I figured it out. That, dear viewer, is a 25-year-old Daniel Craig. Give that a moment to sink in.
What's that for, old boy? The Countess has been very naughty. Making eyes at Sharpe, making little of you, making a fool of Sir Henry, calling herself a Countess. Very naughty indeed. Naughty girls get spanked and put to bed.
Sir Henry and his lackeys, Gibbons and Barry, are in command of the South Essex Regiment, and are newly arrived in the Duke of Wellington's army in Spain. Sharpe quickly finds that Sir Henry imposes strict discipline on the South Essex through floggings and other brutal punishments.
The South Essex, what do you make of them? Man for man.
They're flogged soldiers, sir. And flogging teaches a soldier only one lesson.
What's that, Richard?
How to turn his back.
Sir Henry himself is a bigoted, violent, and brutal man that regards the poor and non-noble Sharpe as beneath him, even though Sharpe is a more than capable and heroic soldier. Gibbons and Barry share Sir Henry's disdain and hatred for Sharpe in his tattered green uniform. Also accompanying the South Essex is American-born Captain Leroy and an old friend of Sharpe's from India, Major Lennox, both of whom regard Sharpe with a more favorable eye than their snobbish and tyrannical colonel.
And who the devil are you, sir?
Lieutenant Sharpe, sir.
No, you're not. You're a damn disgrace. Get him a decent jacket.
No, sir. This is the green jacket of my regiment, sir, the 95th. It is an honor to wear it, sir, whatever its condition.
What? You are under my orders, sir.
The Duke of Wellington and his Irish engineer, Major Hogan, played by Brian Cox, agree that a small victory is needed in Spain. They want to send the South Essex to destroy a small but tactical bridge before they march west to meet the French in battle, but they don't trust Sir Henry. So Lieutenant Sharpe and his riflemen are sent with the South Essex to make sure the job gets done properly. The bridge is taken without any resistance, but just as the riflemen finish setting the charges, a small French patrol shows up on the opposite side of the bridge. Instead of blowing up the bridge, Sir Henry orders Major Lennox to take the King's colors in a small detachment and dispatch the French. Shockingly, this turns out to be a French trap. Major Lennox and his men are killed, the French capture the King's colors, and a rescue attempt mounted by Sharpe and his riflemen are stranded on the wrong side of the river by the cowardly Sir Henry, who panics and blows up the bridge. Major Lennox's dying request is that Sharpe and Harper make up for the shame of losing the King's colors by capturing a French eagle on a future battlefield.
I lost the colors. I want an eagle. An imperial eagle, touched by the hand of Bonaparte himself.
You've lost the colours, sir. The King's own colours touched by his own hand. Take my advice and a pistol and go behind that tent and blow out what's left of your brains.
Back at camp, the Duke of Wellington takes Sir Henry's report on the engagement. Sir Henry tries to dump off the blame for the fiasco at the bridge on Sharpe and Major Lennox, whilst claiming Gibbons distinguished himself so that he can be gazetted captain. Major Hogan stands up for Sharpe and tells Wellington what really happened, and Wellington then promotes Sharpe to captain and gives Sir Henry one of the best tongue lashings I've ever seen on screen.
Major Hogan leaves the worst to the last. He says you lost the king's colours.
The fault was not mine, sir. Major Lennox must answer.
Major Lennox answer with his life, as you should have done if you had any sense of honour. You lost the colours of the King of England. You disgraced us, sir. You shamed us, sir. You will answer.
Sir Henry, Gibbons, and Barry blame Sharpe for their troubles and hatch a plan to kill him. Because Gibbons is not really into the whole fighting thing, Barry decides that he will provoke Sharpe into a duel by abusing a woman that he had taken under his protection. Sharpe challenges him, and Daniel Craig's Barry proves once again how much of a delightful bastard he is.
I don't fight duels over horse.
I do.
The remainder of the movie is dominated by the Battle of Talavera, where Sir Henry and Gibbons turn and run, and Sharpe leads the South Essex to victory against the French. Needless to say, he captures the French eagle he promised to Major Lennox, and the victory is the driving force that leads Sir Arthur Wellesley to becoming the Duke of Wellington. The primary complaint I have with this movie is the scale. Napoleonic battles were known for their immense armies fighting each other in lines. In the Sharpe movies, the scale is much more intimate, focusing on a small part of the action in an implied larger battle. This was due mostly to budgetary factors. I feel that Sharpe's Eagle, more so than any of the other films in the series, would have benefited from a massive Hollywood summer blockbuster budget due to the time period in which it is set. That being said, the battle sequences are all very well done. The Battle of Talavera, while small scale, is action-packed and frantic. The battle at the bridge against the French patrol is the same way, but seemingly more open and less claustrophobic due to the terrain. The true highlights of the film are the characters. Sharpe is as romantic of a swashbuckler hero that has ever existed. He's tough and uneducated and poor, but has values and qualities noticeably lacking in the rich, bigoted, and violent Sir Henry. Sean Bean isn't as much an actor that plays the character of Sharpe, he just is Richard Sharpe. Similarly, the villainous Sir Henry is played fantastically by Michael Cochran. He embodies the haughty and brutal nature of Sir Henry perfectly, as a stark contrast to the likable, downtrodden, and heroic duo of Sharpe and Harper.
Sorry about this, Sharpe. Sir Henry's compliments. And you're not to dawdle in the rear.
Right, lads. If we can't dawdle in the rear, we may as well dawdle in the front.
Took the words out of my mouth, sir.
Even the supporting characters are phenomenal in this movie. The jovial Major Hogan is played as well as you can expect veteran actor Brian Cox to play him, and you get truly convinced by David Troughton of the Duke of Wellington's absolute shame that a regiment in his army lost the colors of the King of England. The supporting villains of Lieutenants Gibbons and Barry are similarly well played. Gibbons gives off a lover not a fighter vibe, and many times seems like he has been forced into becoming a professional soldier by family. Contrasting Gibbons' indifference is Daniel Craig's Barry, who seems to thrive off of violence. Craig plays this down, however, and even though his character could fall into the category of cartoonishly villainous, Craig plays the role with an elitist and slimy air. He is the cool-headed and calculating evil to Sir Henry's blustery and at times over-the-top villainy. Gibbons and Barry spend most of their time on screen together and act like two spoiled frat boys. They even have their own version of the word bro, which they say to one another before and after almost every sentence.
Cards, old boy? Let's call on the Countess, old boy.
I'll second you, old boy. I'm not exactly top drawer myself, old boy.
Bad luck, old boy.
I say, Barry, old boy, what say you lend me some tin and I pay the maids on the quiet?
I don't lend, old boy.
I say, Barry, old boy.
Cards, old boy?
Afraid you've cleaned me out, Barry, old boy. I say, Barry, old chap.
Don't mean to back down on a debt of honor, do you, old boy? You want a woman, old boy.
Countess not cooperating, old boy.
What happens if you win, old boy, huh? What the blazes you on about, Barry, old boy? What's that, old boy? What the devil you on about, old boy?
Bad luck, old boy.
Barry, old boy.
Don't worry, old boy. Sharpe is a dead man.
While the battles in this film are nowhere near as well done or as large scale as big-budget movies like The Patriot, the characters and plot are so impeccable that they make you forget this movie's shortcomings. You may have trouble finding Sharpe's Eagle or any of the other Sharpe movies to watch, but most public libraries stock them. This is definitely a movie all self-proclaimed history buffs should check out. I give it 3 out of 4 stars.